everybody, and welcome to another episode of Middle Row of the Podcast. This week, we are flashing back to 2000 to discuss the Christopher Guest-directed Best in Show. Lauren picked this movie for us, which is a mockumentary. It was the second one directed by Guest after waiting for Guffman, but was also, both of them are within the spirit of This is Spinal Tap, which he was a star of. Rob Reiner directed that one. But I believe him and Eugene Levy wrote the quote-unquote script for this movie. They start with an outline and then give the characters their motivations, and then they improvise the scenes largely. I remember this being a big hit, and probably the biggest hit of his movies. But maybe A Mighty Wind is a better movie? Question mark. But Lauren, did I say you hadn't seen it?
No, I hadn't. I picked it because it was one of those movies that everyone always talks about loving so much. It's like, I guess I should watch it. I mean, there's dogs involved. So, yeah. So
that's why she picked it. Anything else you want to tell us?
I will say that last week I said that there was a good chance I wasn't going to like the movie because it just didn't look like my cup of tea, really. And sure enough, I wouldn't say I didn't like it. I was just kind of like it was fun enough to watch, but I was slowly losing interest as it went on. And I think, honestly, had it not been for Fred Willard in the second half, I probably would have just been so bored.
Would you say Fred Willard was Best in Show?
Yeah, he was. But it was just like such a subdued humor in many senses that I was I wanted it to be more like Drop Dead Gorgeous in like that height of comedy, and just it didn't seem like enough of a parody. Like most of the people I know love their dogs this much. This isn't that weird to me. So it didn't seem like enough of a parody in many ways. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but it was like, I'm glad I've seen it now, but I wasn't like blown away by it, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think, also too, I think its brand of humor was very much new. Like, there wasn't a lot of comedy like this when it came out. So it probably felt more revelatory back in the day.
Yeah.
And, now there's a million kind of deadpan, obviously, but this movie it's kind of one of those, this thing kind of started it all, kind of, I mean, this was I think success wise kind of made this being able to do, allowed more people to do this. And
Spinal Tap was kind of like under a lot of people's radars, and then it was Best in Show. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, Waiting for Guffman, has its fans, but I think that's the least seen of the three that he made.
Yeah.
Or I guess technically
that was the order.
Those three.
That was the order I saw. It was Best in Show, then Spinal Tap, then Guffman.
Yeah, I've seen none of those.
Have you seen A Mighty Wind, Ben?
I have not.
No, it's really good. That one.
I saw Mascots.
Okay. Did you see the Thank you for your consideration? What was that one? That one's funny too, but it's not a documentary. It's more of a for your consideration. I don't think it's documentary style. I think that one is more, whatchamacallit? It's improvised, but it's a straightforward movie. So more like a Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of thing. I think that's lesser than, I think I'd rate A Mighty Wind, Best in Show, Guffman, consideration, Mascots, maybe. But I really liked his HBO show, too. I was kind of bummed they only made one season of it. It had a good cast. Chris O'Dowd was the lead. Worth watching. I can't remember the name of it.
Well, a bunch of them are in Schitt's Creek, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Eugene Levy's son runs that show. And then, obviously, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are two of the four main stars. I have not seen that show. I've heard it's good.
Yeah, it's on the top of my list.
Yeah. But I think it's in the same spirit, right? It's improvised like these are, I believe. But it's not a mockumentary, I believe. What did you think of this movie, John? Had you seen it before?
I hadn't seen it before, and I should also say I haven't seen anything by Christopher Guest, so that's a card taken away from me. This was kind of surreal because it was so deadpan and subtle at times. I didn't know how to really receive it. There were times that I thought were incredibly funny, incredibly silly, and times when I was just like, this is like sillier than I expected it to be. Like, it borderlined into like weird sketch comedy kind of territory, but then there were other times when it was a more subtler humor. Yeah, I don't know, but overall still effective, but not, like Lauren was saying, to the point where I might watch it again. But maybe I would. I don't know. I feel so torn about this film. I will admit there was a time when I like passed out in the middle, but that was more due to a food coma.
So did you rewind or just skip that part?
No, I rewind several times. It was tough.
How many food comas?
It was the part where Parker Posey keeps yelling at the hotel workers because she can't find the toy. And
surprised it was that part. It was the loudest part of the movie.
No, it was. And so it would be like just shortly after that where I'd pass out, and then I'd be like, fuck, where was I? It was like, and essentially I missed a lot of the actual dog show because of it. And then I'd wake up and I'd be like, and then I'd wake up and I'd be like, there's 15 minutes left in this movie. And so I'd have to rewind back to that part. But yeah, so, I mean, all things considered, I think the acting is great. I think the characters are memorable, and I think the actors did a great job, actors and actresses. Mm-hmm. Across the board, too, comprehensively. I think the only one that didn't really stand out so much to me was the guy who played Harlan Pepper,
That's Christopher Guest.
That's Christopher Guest?
That was the guy with the bloodhound?
Yeah.
He was my favorite.
Walnut?
Oh, he's
Cashew
Jamie
nut.
Lee Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a
Hubert was the best boy.
See, and like for me, like when I was a kid, like the parts I laughed at the most were like Parker Posey, and I forget the husband's
Michael Hitchcock is his name.
Yeah, like their bits had me laughing because I'm just like, they're so like neurotic.
Well, they're the big performance.
Yeah.
Like
and
they're
then,
yeah.
I'm dropping his name too. Shit. I'm dropping both their names. God damn it.
John Michael Higgins.
Yeah.
And Michael McKean.
Yeah. Like their bits were always great, and I was actually worried about going into this this time because I haven't seen it in like 10 years, and I'm like, oh no, is this gonna be like really like?
Is this gonna waterboy it?
Well, I still like water.
But
I know, that's why I called it out.
Yeah, but it was just like
they weren't stereotypical. Well, maybe
they were.
Maybe there's a little bit of stereotype in there, but they were so lovable.
Yeah, and it was never like, haha, look at the gay guys. It was like they're just
haha, look at the gay guys.
No, well, they're quirky and they happen to be gay. It was never like.
But Higgins is like really good. Like he's the more stereotypical of the two, but he's like really fun. He has every single one-liner he has is fantastic.
My favorite line in the whole movie, and I had completely forgotten about it, was when he's got like, okay, so that's 7 kimonos.
Yeah.
We're only going to be there for 2 days, so I need another.
Yeah. No, the weirdest line for me was the favorite. It was when like Jennifer Coolidge, when we first got introduced to her and her husband was sitting next to her, and she just says like, we both love soup. And like, I don't know why, but that line had me dying.
No, it's great.
It's so good.
We both love soup. Talking and not talking.
Yeah.
We could not talk or talk forever and still find things to not talk about.
My favorite, the biggest laugh I had was this time was Jane Lynch when I think it was the first scene with her, and they're like talking about the kennel, and he's like, you know, we're like a family, and that worked great for mine until my mom committed suicide.
And that was the other bit I was kind of worried about, but it still made me laugh. One of the many lovers of shit, now I'm dropping her name. God damn it.
Catherine O'Hara's character.
Yeah, O'Hara's like
Cookie.
Cookie, yeah, and Cookie, like the one they stayed at the ex's house, and it's just like, let me tell you a secret. They all jump. It's like,
yeah,
wow.
That was a good one.
And then you see his like negotiating skills. Are like, I'm gonna jam my eye into my thumb into your eye. Like,
no, that's a great sequence. I mean, the movie, like, I totally get where Lauren's coming from. Like, it is very subdued, and I guess John was agreeing. But at the same time, I think I would encourage both of you to watch it again, because I feel like there is...
I just really don't want to.
Well, not right now. Just like, but there's a lot of subtlety and good lines, and I don't know. There are new things you notice each time through.
I feel like it's like that movie that came out recently about zombies with Bill Murray, not Zombieland, but him and Kylo Ren.
Dead Don't Die.
Yeah, didn't you like that movie?
I did.
See, I thought it was pure garbage, like one of the worst movies ever. I was so bored. I feel like this is kind of in that vein, but like much better than that movie.
What I find interesting is you didn't like it when the humor was at its like most subtle, but
my favorite line is the most subtle line.
Yeah, and it's Christopher, and Christopher Guest is like the most subtle. I would argue the most subtle of the characters.
There were things I could find enjoy. Like, I'm still giving this a 3 out of 5. There was still stuff I enjoyed with it. Just overall, I was kind of getting bored with it for a while. And like, until,
I could see it does sag a little, like, because nothing's happening. You know, it's all character beats. Like, there is no plot to this movie, and that's why I think A Mighty Wind might be a little bit better. There's more of like a dramatic through line through that movie versus like, you're just waiting for the dog show to happen in this one, and then it doesn't even really matter.
And like I was saying, I just wanted it to be a little more Drop Dead Gorgeous, where I kept expecting like sabotage to happen or something, you know, but it was like, oh no, like true. It went off without a hitch, basically.
Well, who knows? Maybe somebody did trip
benefited from some of that stuff.
Yeah. And just like a lot of those characters are so big and ridiculous that it's like hard not to love how dumb and like hilarious they are. And this, I was just kind of like, yeah, people are people.
So I love, this is also reminding me of, like Ben, my favorite characters were Higgins and McKean. And I love, like, when we're first introduced to them and they're at the butcher. And he goes, now Tyrone would like some of those beef kidneys, so we'll have a half pound of those. He goes, no, not the kidneys, it's the membranes. I don't want to have to pull those things off. I'll take care of the membranes. I mean, Randy, you could pull the membrane off. Will you stop it? So we'll have a half pound of the kidneys and a half pound of the salmon. Oh, and do me a favor, will you? Just get out one of those pepperoni sticks. I just want to hold it.
He gave them so many like lines like that to just escape the scene. You know, it's like, and on to the next one.
I love their reaction at the end where, fuck, what is it with me and names today? From Glee, fuck.
Jane Lynch.
Yeah.
Lynch. Oh my god, this is awful. But like,
it's like usually I'm this person.
Yeah, and when she runs up and kisses her boss, and they're just like, oh.
What was her boss's
reaction?
name? What was her boss's name?
Fuck.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Why you gotta do that, Lauren?
Because when she ran up to her boss, like one of the big actresses in the movie.
I don't know who she is.
How dare you?
You don't know Jennifer Coolidge?
I know almost everybody else in this movie.
She's whose mom?
Stifler's mom. No. Was it Stifler's mom?
That's all I know.
But she was in Legally Blonde.
Stifler's mom. Isn't it? I guess it is Stifler's mom. Yeah, Legally Blonde.
No, it's not Stifler's mom. It's it's the mom Stifler sleeps with.
No, okay. the nerdy guy sleeps with her.
I think that's the whole point. It's Stifler's mom because of the nerdy guy. And again, I haven't seen American Pie since, I don't know, when did American Pie come out?
Probably 2000.
I mean, she's...
Yeah, like that.
I feel like most people I know her from like Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
And the most recent thing I can think of that I've seen her in was Two Broke Girls, that TV show.
And I haven't seen either of those. So.
She's in Promising Young Woman whenever that movie comes out.
Yeah.
No, she is great, but I think like Catherine O'Hara actually really stuck out to me because like she just really is, like, I don't know, like when I think Catherine O'Hara, I always think Beetlejuice for some reason, and like this character is such a 180 from that, and she's just so laid back, but you also like believe that she's in love with Jerry.
Yeah.
Even though she like her past, like it's not like she's just using him or anything. Like she's genuinely in love with this man now, and then she's not ashamed of her past at all, or That's the only time I ever did it on a roller coaster. Just like
that other bit too, where he's like, he talks about like, well, I was, some people considered quite the heartbreaker.
Yeah.
And it's like that picture of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, my favorite thing about that couple were their songs about their dog. And like, I was reading the trivia, and Eugene Levy actually like wrote those songs, so it's pretty cool. But
yeah, they wrote all the songs for.
I love the songs.
Mighty
I
Ducks,
couldn't.
too.
I was like, the biggest moments of me being like a 12-year-old little boy was every time they said Winky to their dog, because it's like, that does not mean what it means to you guys in my mind.
Well, Larry Miller calls that out. The hostage that goes, he's like, Winky.
Oh, I missed that.
He gives her a little eyebrow raise when he says Winky. Also, that I love that dinner conversation too, because when Jerry's like, what if I just tell your wife she has some very luscious breasts?
And she was like, so flattered.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is she also in Schitt's Creek? Does anyone? She looked familiar.
She's definitely been in stuff.
I gotta keep talking about John Michael Higgins. Another great one-liner he gets. Hotel manager, we have you down for a queen. Scott Donlan, what are you suggesting, my dear man?
Ed Begley Jr., who is he's the hotel guy. He is just an amazing straight man in this movie too. Like he comes back with some great lines. From what?
Norland? She asks him where he's from. And she goes, Norland? Like she combines Norway and Finland.
German Irish.
But I also like Fred Willard and his every line of his is like,
also, yeah, speaking of straight men, that guy, the announcer, cracking up.
Yeah. No, it was great. I was reading again with the trivia. There wasn't a lot of trivia for this one, but one of the things was like he was purposely told like not to do any research into like dog shows or anything like that. So when he was there, he was just asking the most like random things basically. And like the guy he was with did the opposite and like really researched it so much and everything that most people assumed he was actually like an announcer for dog shows. It's like, no, he's not. But it's like, honestly, I felt that way too. I was like, is he actually? Because a lot of the people that work the dog show for this, like the handlers, or not the handlers, but the judges were actually people who work dog shows. So I was like, but I mean, I loved the announcer so much.
But then like the National Dog Show became a thing because of this movie.
It became a bigger thing. It became like a national sensation.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first dog show I went to was probably 4 or 5 months after I saw Best in Show. Like, my dad's like...
Wait,
the first? How many have you gone to?
Thank you.
I went to a couple, yeah, as a kid. Fuck you!
Like,
it was
that was what you wanted to do, or you got dragged to him, or what?
No,
I need all the details.
We were trying to get a dog, so we went to some dog shows to kind of see cool dogs, and...
No, you gotta go to the Humane Society.
Yeah, well,
get a mutt.
Whatever. I went to some dog shows. Fuck you, Zach.
No, I'm gonna shame you.
It was just funny. It was just funny. There's nothing wrong with going to a dog show.
If we could return to Fred Willard real quick, I definitely think it was in the best interest of the movie to have it be so subtle and so deadpan and so kind of under the surface with its humor throughout, and then once you finally get to the dog show, like have Fred Willard be just off the like he's the person everyone relates to because everyone else is like, what the hell is going on? Why is that woman cupping the dog's balls? What is this? And so he's both simultaneous, like he illuminates the ridiculousness of it while also being the most relatable in the room.
Can you hear that? My dog is just like going to town on the water bowl over there.
Now I can, yeah.
Jesus, Scout.
One of my favorite bits of the Fred Willard thing, and you're right, John. I agree 100%. But I love when Cookie's out there. He's like, that handler looks familiar. Like he's also one of the hundreds of people Cookie has been with. Also, I just was thinking about it. We can't not appreciate what's her name? Catherine O'Hara's acting ability for the walk she does, the injured walk as she like I don't even know what she's doing.
How
to make
did
that
she not
work.
actually injure herself just doing that walk?
Yes. At the
Like
end,
her
when she's
ankle
coming out
must
to
have just been
celebrate,
hurting
yeah.
for months after this.
Also, we have not mentioned, I think the biggest joke that like I remember people loving the most, and we haven't even mentioned it yet, is the 2 left feet bit was
was
just
so
one of
stupid.
those.
Yeah.
I know. But it was like, again, that kind of humor just was so fresh back in the day, I think.
Yeah.
And now I think like that kind of absurdist humor feels more commonplace now.
It's just
and
like, I just kept walking in circles or something.
Yeah.
They used to call me Loopy.
Goodness.
I went to one of those obedience places once. It was all going well until they spilled hot candle wax on my private parts. Like, Fred Willard is a legend. Like, an
Yeah,
absolute
I was
legend.
really like kind of bummed going into this because it's like the first time I've seen it since he passed, and I'm like,
passed,
God,
yeah.
man, he really was just something else.
Yeah.
They kept trotting him out onto The Bachelor once a season to do like commentary on. He had definitely lost his fastball, but it was still always kind of nice to see Fred Willard get brought out there.
Yeah. It's like
Chris Harrison enjoys having him around.
And like one point, I think it was the Hounds at one point where they all came out, and he's like such an unusual type of dog or something like that. It's like, Hounds? You're just looking at a beagle right now. Like, how dare you? I'm
be great if
offended
he had
for
one
my
of
2
those
dogs.
That one of those hats and the little corn pipe.
I don't know what that. And it's some
Yeah.
way you could light it. I don't know if that'd be.
Oh my God, Winky, was it Winky? I think when they brought him into I think it was when they were standing in the closet, he just had like a little beanie with his ears coming out of it or something. It was so adorable. It's like, yeah, there should be a hat competition in this. Let's get that going.
And then Higgins and fuck, what? Come on, brain. But
Michael McKean.
yeah, they're
Like, pull up the IMDb page.
I should.
So listen. It must be something about him because we literally had watched like 3 straight episodes of Better Call Saul the other day, and Amy was like, "What has this guy been in before?" And I just was like,
No, I like.
"We just watched him on a show for like 3 hours
No, like
straight the other day."
I know him. Like I mean, I saw
Okay.
he was Hoover in
Hoover?
All the Way.
J. Edgar?
All the Way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I saw a play about LBJ, and it was like Bryan Cranston was in it, and then McKean was.
This is crazy. I guess I'd recognized him, but because of having also seen him in Better Call Saul, I just assumed he was more of a dramatic actor. Apparently, he was a cast member on Saturday Night Live for 2 seasons.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean,
Yeah, when he
He's
came
got
out
that
of
talent.
Second City, I think, or maybe
just-
him and Chris Guest
they're-
had their own little thing.
I loved him and Higgins had like the dog calendars at the end,
Laverne
like
and Shirley. Yeah,
the little romantic.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, those were awesome.
We'd have to cancel
buy
that
one.
month though now. I'm surprised they didn't. I wonder if there's a promotional material from back in the day where they did that. The Will Sasso, speaking of Drop Dead Gorgeous, plays another mentally incapacitated, not all there person in this movie, which seems weird
What?
that
He
was
just
getting
loved
cast as
fishing.
that. Do we have anything else? Any other lines we didn't get out?
Shih Tzu, that's a name you got to be careful with.
Like, I don't remember half these lines you guys are saying. No, one thing I thought was insane in the trivia was that Parker Posey got real braces for this movie.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, both
Yeah.
of them looked like they did. Yeah,
Yeah. It's like, that's dedication.
that's commitment. Yeah.
Well, and that was a great bit because I didn't know what Best in Show was like when I started it, like when I was watching it for the first time with my family. My family was all like, "You're gonna like this," and
You're gonna
it's
love
them-
this scene talking about the sex therapy with
Cool.
the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it pans over and then you see the dog, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's great!" Like,
Oh, that's something I actually want to talk about. Like when they're yelling at each other in those final scenes, or not final scenes, but the dog show
Yeah.
scenes, I felt so bad for that dog
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was
That
probably
dog is
stressing
terrified.
out like crazy.
I felt bad that they just like got rid of him or her at the end. It's just like they literally just gave her to somebody else or something.
Yeah.
mean, they
Oh,
don't
that's
say-
what you hope.
They don't say what they. Yeah, I mean, God, I hope that's what they did.
They could have sold that dog for a lot of money. Like,
Yeah,
That's probably what
I
happened.
want a Weimaraner. I like Weimaraner.
And the other, if we're
Did you just say who wants a Weimaraner?
No, I said I want a Weimaraner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're so pretty.
I like them.
The other line I always love is just the question, be honest, how much do you think I could bench press? Like, it's just like so fucking random. And then
280.
it's like you're expecting something random, like, because, I mean, that's never a question I would have guessed. Like, it's,
It's also like the perfect weight for like, it's reasonable, but it's also not impressive for someone the size of Fred Willard. Like a grown man that's like over 6 feet tall. Like a really impressive number would be over 300, but he picks like 280. And then like 600
I mean,
is
I don't
really
know. That's
impressive.
pretty impressive to me. I'd probably be sweating at like 35 pounds bench pressing.
And especially for, I mean, he was
That's the bar.
He was probably in his 60s.
Yeah, exactly. The bar. I don't even need the weights. As someone who took strength and conditioning in school, I pretty much just used the bar.
That's going to do it for Best in Show. Next week, we are going to do a Christopher Nolan movie, his second film, and that is Memento. Also from 2000. This also was a big, like, kind of like, I mean, it was a big flash in the pan movie. Like, it was one of those movies that you had to see for the gimmick.
What movie? I forgot.
Memento.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
I
heard
forgot it. Guess I should have tattooed it on my body.
I see.
That was my joke, goddammit.
What?
That's what I said. I said, what movie? I forgot.
Oh. I mean,
Nolan's breakout movie, starring Guy Pearce, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Joe Pantoliano. Not a Matrix sequel. And yeah, I remember it being awesome and being great. And I even watched it in the with the special edition DVD that reassembled it in
chronological order.
Chronologically, it still worked.
Nerd. No.
But yeah, we are going to review that because none of us are going to go see Tenet in a movie theater. Probably. My brain's already trying to convince me I should go. But I don't even think our theaters are open here, so I'm not even going to have a chance to. So
I've checked them I've checked them every couple of weeks, just like out of curiosity. And they're like, "We'll be back soon." And I'm like,
"Oh no, ours are opening Friday."
Just put it in the fucking drive-through or drive-in.
Put it on my fucking TV. Put it on Amazon. Let me stream that shit.
Blame Christopher Nolan for that. Until then, I'm Zach Oldenburg. You can find me wherever you can find at Zach Oldenburg. You can find us at middleofrow.com. You should also rate and review the podcast wherever you find it. Apparently, it helps.
If it's positive.
Yeah, if it's not positive, don't rate it. Just leave it be. I'm Ben Grigsby. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at the Grigsby Bear. And you can find all of us on Facebook at Middle of the Row.
Oh, follow me on Twitter, another Rahul J. Follow us on Twitter, Middle of Row.
Oh my. And I'm Lauren Heimbaugh. You can find me on Twitter at Beware of Trees, and you can find us on Tumblr at middleofrow.tumblr.com.
Thanks for listening. Go watch Memento, and remember, the best seats are in the middle of the row.
God loves a terrier. Yes, he does. God loves a terrier. That's because small, sturdy, bright, and true, they give their love to you. God didn't miss a stitch. Be it dog or be it bitch. When he made the Norwich Terrier with its cute little derriere. Yes, God loves a terrier.